Lucas, it's fantastic to see you, mate. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Of course, I don't know if you've seen the news here in Brazil about the floods. Unfortunately, the region where I am living now, it's right in the middle of the problem.
Oh, no.
But my family is safe. Everything is okay, and adapting to the retired life now.
So, when you say about the flooding, how much is that affecting Brazil itself?
It's the south of Brazil. Around 400 cities got
Wow.
affected. So it's a lot of rain, and it's the worst in the history of the region. So it will affect, of course, but especially the state where I am now, and we are living a bit of a chaos at the moment.
Mhm.
But Brazilian, they are very helpful. So we will stay together, and we're gonna help a lot of people here to start their lives. A lot of people lost their homes, so it's a good opportunity now for us to show the world that Brazilians are a unit. Let's say like that.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Good luck, because
Thank
that's
you.
going to be a
Thank
massive
you.
effort, and it's going to be a massive rebuild for Brazil. Um,
Yes.
in terms of your health, obviously, you probably don't like talking about too much retiring due to the
Yeah.
scarring on your heart.
Yeah.
How is things with you? How are things with your health?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all fine. Of course, I found out about a year ago I had a heart problem. Of course, I didn't have a chance to choose if I could keep playing or not, and I had to retire it. Of course, it was strange and very hard on that moment. It's been 1 year now. March was 1 year that since I retired. Still adapting. It's a new life, let's say. Of course, enjoying a lot of time with the family, starting new projects, and slowly getting used to it. But I'm fine. I just cannot play high intensity sport, and especially football, but I can do pretty much everything apart from that. So it's a process. You have to adapt slowly, and now doing a few things with the club as well as ambassador. I've done a few trips, so enjoying as well this kind of stuff, because you stay connected with the club, a club that I love, and I stayed so many years there and still feel connected. Of course, a lot of people moved on, and Jurgen now it's not, I wouldn't say the last one, but a lot of the staff, and only now Trent and Gomez are were my teammates. So a lot of things changed, but I still feel a lot connection with the club, and hope it will be like that for many years.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think from when you started to when you finished with the club. Let's just say it started. It's difficult, but ended with the relationship that will last forever for you and for the fans. And before we get into things, I'll thank you at the end, but I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for the club and continue to do.
No, thanks, mate. It's a pleasure. Like you said, the start wasn't beautiful, wasn't easy, but it was a difficult moment as well for the club, I would say, and a
Yeah.
lot of things change. We can see, and Liverpool is in a new level of a
Mhm.
club, of structure, owners, team. So, but I'm happy. I was part of that, and a lot of clubs go through this process, goes through this difficult period, and of course, I feel part that I helped, to change that. Of course, I
Yeah.
wasn't there when the club won titles, important titles, but you need people to stay in difficult times as well, and that was the case. And I'm glad and I'm proud, because now I can see the club in a new moment, and we just hope that keeps going. Of course, Jurgen leaving now, it will leave a gap. I think it's very hard to replace him. But like I said, the club is in a moment that I think any player or any manager that comes will have a very strong base, a very strong foundation to keep that going.
Definitely. So, if we go back to when you first heard about the Liverpool interest, you've probably said this story a million times, but I haven't heard it, and I want to hear it from your mouth. So, when you first heard the interest, what was it? Was it a case of get me on that plane?
Yeah, well, I was very young. I was only 20. I remember, I think Rafa called my father, to be honest, and said about the interest, and I was playing here at Grêmio. We were playing the Libertadores on that time, very important competition like the Champions League of South America, and then they invited me to come to Liverpool and to go around, see Melwood, see Anfield, and understand what they were talking about. To be honest, the Premier League on that time probably wasn't the most viewed league in Brazil. Probably was the Spanish league and the Italian league. I was only the second Brazilian to play for the club, so not many Brazilians was going to direct from Brazil to the Premier League. But of course, when you hear a club like Liverpool with all the history, I just said, listen, we need to go there and visit the city, the club, and understand. Of course, Rafa was very important. Everybody knows, even after when I was there, but before as well, because the communication in Spanish with my father, my agent on that time, it was very helpful. And then I went, had a look, came back to Brazil, and then the contract got sorted, and then I finished the season here with Grêmio. We lost the final against Boca Juniors in the final of the Libertadores, and then I moved to the club. So I couldn't say no. It's like I said, probably wasn't the right moment for me to go to the Premier League, because like you remember, I took time to adapt. Physically I wasn't ready, but when you have this chance, you have to take it and then see what's happened, and that's what I done. I just thought, put me there, and then after we will see how I'm gonna do it.
Well, so you come into the club as, let's say, a number 10, but ended up playing as a defensive midfielder.
I played in many positions, to be honest. I was in Brazil, I was an attacking midfielder. But like I said, the Premier League was a very quick and a very transition game, and I wasn't prepared to do that role, to be honest. And then, of course, on that time, Steven was playing, and it was very hard to find a space in the team. And Rafa saw an opportunity for me to give me more game time in a holding midfield role. And of course, I had to learn a new position. I used to go to attack and not be defensive. Let's say I wasn't a very good guy respecting the role. Let's say I was just a player that would like to attack, and then slowly, of course, Rafa introduced me in the role, and I started to play more, and then I found myself better there than in an offensive position, because I could control the game, I could be involved more on the ball, and physically I was more prepared to play as a holding midfield role than an attacking midfield role.
So, with obviously Rafa brought you in, speaking to your father, he brings you in, he nurtures you into different positions. Maybe, let's say, helps you grow as a footballer as well by doing that. From Benitez to, obviously, we had a few managers along the way, and you finished
Yeah.
with Jurgen at Liverpool. What was so unique about Rafa?
I'm very grateful what Rafa has done to me. I always say that, and I like to repeat because when you are in a big club like Liverpool and other clubs, Liverpool is a bit different, but you can see a lot of young players that comes to clubs, and people don't have a patience. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I think Liverpool is an example how patient pays off after. How many young players we have now in the squad that will grow and will become future for the club, and they are already playing, but they will become even better. So Liverpool is different in a way how they think about young players, and Rafa was really important because he was very patient. He could see I was trying everything, to learn. I was trying everything to play well, and when you are young, sometimes it doesn't go the way you want.
yeah,
So I think he was, if it was another manager, maybe I wouldn't be that long at the club because my first 2 seasons was very hard, and he was very patient with me. He could understand my moment, and then once he said to me, listen, prepare, we are preparing you for the future, don't worry, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna perform maybe not as good as you would like to, you are learning a new role. So I think he was very important to me, and I always like to say that because sometimes people forget, and I will not, because he was probably the main manager at the club for me, because my start was very hard, and then of course after I improved, I got better, and then I changed things around.
yeah, most definitely. I can see, like, I think I mentioned to you before, your progression. I watched an interview with Rafa just before I came on with you, and he tells me, well, he doesn't tell me, tells us how you improved every single day. You wanted to improve every single day. And I think, obviously, I don't know from a football manager's perspective, but if they can see that someone wants to learn and develop, then they'll put their time into you as well.
Yeah, I think that's what he's done. He could see I was trying very hard, and sometimes I was trying too much, you know. But I didn't want to fail.
Yeah.
I just didn't want as well to move on and and go to another club and leave something unfinished, in Liverpool. So I tried everything, and I think that's why I could change things, and I learned. And then, of course, I got to my best moments at the club unfortunately, after Rafa left. But he played a big part on that as well.
Okay. I won't go too much into different managers and things, and obviously you don't want to say too much. But in terms of Roy Hodgson coming to the club,
Hmm.
he's a very respected manager,
Yeah.
well respected coach in England. From a fan's perspective, it kind of felt like the wrong move. It just felt a little bit difficult. It just felt like he wasn't the right man at that time. And no, that's no fault of his own, by the way. That's not me
Yeah.
blaming him. We were in a very transitional period, like you've mentioned. How did the players feel when he was the name coming in the door?
We of course, the season before, he got to the final of the Europa League with Fulham, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, he was a very respected manager in the country. He managed Inter Milan, so he had a lot of experience. Unfortunately, probably he came in the wrong time. It was by the time that they changed the ownership,
Yeah.
the team was a lot of big players was they were leaving,
Mm-hmm.
so it was a difficult moment for him. And to be honest, he only stayed for 6 months, so
Yeah.
we cannot um, judge, what he's done, because 6 months, you have it's not time enough to do
Mm.
a job and change things around. But yes, he I think it wasn't his fault. It's just the moment. Like I said, I came to the club. It was a difficult moment. You just have to accept, and of course the ownership, the new ownership that they are in now, they just decided to change after 6 months, and they brought Kenny, I think, to give a boost and a lift to the funds as well, to the players, and I think it worked. In that
Yeah.
moment, I think it was a positive move. Of course, it wasn't good for Roy, but I think for the club in general was a very positive a positive change.
Yeah, it did. It kind of felt like that's when the tables turned when Kenny came in. He gave us that hope back, and the players looked like they will run through brick walls for him at that time. And obviously, we lifted that trophy in a difficult game against Cardiff. Let's say,
Yeah.
obviously, working under Kenny must have been amazing. And then obviously, Rodgers comes in the door, and we get so close. How was that after that season? I mean, as a supporter, we were mentally, physically drained, and it was painful, very painful. So, how was it for you guys?
Well, I would like to touch a little bit about Kenny because
Yeah,
he was wow, what a guy. He became a friend, to be honest, and probably my best period at the club was under Kenny. I
yeah,
felt so confident, and he just gave me the freedom and gave me responsibility. It's probably what I needed on that moment. So Kenny was very important to me as well, and he could see what I was doing for the team, for the club. So I would like to touch on that because Kenny was, he became a friend, of course, after that, and we still keep in touch. But it's always important to say that because he was very important, and we won a trophy. We got to another final in the FA Cup. We almost qualified for the Europa League on that year. We were playing really bad, and we ended up finishing close to the Europa League group. And but yeah, so I would like to touch on that. And of course, when we lost the league, with under Brandon, it was strange, to be honest, because
mm,
we felt so close. We were close, but we couldn't win it. So of course everybody speaks about the Chelsea game, but of course overall we didn't do enough to win. That's
yeah,
that's how I see it. Premier League, it's a tough competition. I remember Liverpool lost by 1 point or 2 points against City as well, 99
yeah,
points, something like that. So, and at the end wasn't enough. It seemed that the team did everything that they could, and wasn't and it can happen. Of course, the Chelsea game, everybody will remember, but to be honest, I think you know it kind of the experience. We didn't have the experience to challenge and to play that Chelsea game. That's how I see
mm,
it. You know,
yeah,
because we were in a winning run, and we could have draw against Chelsea, and I remember the game. I played that game. They just came to Anfield to not lose the game,
yeah,
so we could easily draw the game. Of course, after what happened with Crystal Palace, but it was already a reaction that what happened against Chelsea. So we didn't do enough. It was very hard because we knew how much it meant to the fans, but to us as well. So it's probably the season that I feel I've probably felt worse. Because we were so close, but it wasn't close enough. So
what was it like to be a part of? Um, let's say that obviously you've had a brilliant players over your career. But what was it like to be a part of that season? Because let's take the difficult moments away from it. That's some
yeah.
of the best football I've ever seen as a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah, it was just the team got a connection, and the players in fantastic moments. We can say Suarez, wow, what he's done. Stevie playing a new role. being a very important player. Sturridge, the partnership by Suarez and Sturridge was incredible. And then some young players doing really well. Sterling, Coutinho, the likes of Henderson. I think he that season he changed things around as well for him. He
Definitely.
became a vice captain. He became a man. He showed how important he was going to be for the club as well. So it was fantastic to be part of that team, and unfortunately we couldn't achieve what we wanted. But like I said, it just set a foundation as well for the other years. Of course, a new manager, another team, but the experience, especially by Henderson, I think was important as well for him to take forward that for the new team.
Definitely. So moving on from the heartache of that season,
Yeah.
Jurgen comes in the door the following few months. And you know how I felt as a fan. Obviously, you're a fan and a player as well now. But when he comes in the door and he has that press conference, it kind of felt like this is the moment everything changes. It was just special. It was something that, we'll forever remember as
Yeah,
supporters.
it was special because first of all, what he's done before, at Dortmund, I think he showed that patient work and an idea of football. It worked in Germany. So, and he's a unique manager. When I say unique, is not. I don't say he's the best, because it's very difficult to compare managers and say you can get good things from each manager. But he's unique. I
Yeah.
think he was made for the club, for Liverpool. And I remember when he first arrived, I was there. It was international break, and I was in Melwood, and he just came with that energy and smiling and very positive. And I was impressed how tall he was, to be honest, because I didn't realize that. Of course, we played against him in a friendly game
Yeah.
in Anfield, but I just didn't remember he was that tall. But that moment, you just felt that a manager with that stature, that energy, that idea would change things around, and that's what's happened. We knew things were going to change. We didn't know when, because football, it doesn't work. Maybe on the time that you want, but we knew that he was going to change a lot things around. But the most important thing, he would bring everybody together.
Yeah.
It just I felt in some moments in my time at the club, it wasn't a unit. Fans were a little bit angry. Team was, w- the team was not together, let's say
Yeah.
that. So I think he brought that that unit together. I think that's the strength of the club. And then things start to change. First season we played two finals, we lost, but played two finals. The second season we qualified for the Champions League, and then of course the third season lost a Champions League final, which was very hard. But people start to kept believing, kept going. And I think that's part of his job. He could show, and people could see, especially the fans, that things were happening. Of course, we had to wait after 3 years to win an important trophy, but it was worth waiting.
Definitely. So, what would be your favorite moment working under Klopp?
There are many. I played 2 years only under him, but you can say many games. The Norwich game, the Dortmund game, even the final, the Europa League final, when we lost, and he gave a speech. because nobody wanted to enjoy, to party. And then he gave a speech bringing that unit together. Like I said, everybody together. It's very, I remember him saying that it's very easy to stay together when you win, because when you win, everybody is fantastic, every player is the best in the world. But when you lose, that's the moment to show a reaction, and that's what he's done. I think that's what his strength. So many moments. But of course, the Dortmund game, the
Wow.
Norwich game, these games are emblematic, because we could you could see that something special was starting to happen.
So in this country, a lot of away supporters say Anfield is a myth. A myth. The atmosphere is a myth. Obviously, there's games when it's quiet. We all have them. That Dortmund game, talk to me about that atmosphere, because it felt like the
Wow.
crowd were just sucking the ball into the goal.
Yeah, I remember the first half was like very, very difficult, very hard, quiet,
Yeah.
because 2-0 down, and everybody thought it's gone, it's finished. We went to the dressing room, and Jurgen, I remember exactly what he said. He said, just guys, 2-0, just go there, enjoy, and play football. You know,
Mm.
you we can lose, is no problem, but go there, play what we worked, what we prepared, and then we'll see what's gonna happen. So maybe that speech, that team talk that he's done in the halftime. Normally you expect a manager maybe to come and shout and say, you are a disaster, you haven't done what we've done, what we trained, what we prepared. And he was very relaxed. I've seen him angry many times, but that time he was very relaxed. Say, listen, 2-0, we are out. So go there, enjoy 45 minutes. Just play how you can play, how you do in training, and then enjoy. And then everything changed, and then it was just wow, what an atmosphere that was. And was a special, let's say, it wasn't a Champions League night, but it was a very typical European night in
Yeah.
Anfield. That is very, all the teams suffer, when that type of things happen, and when the fans are in that mood. And that's why Anfield is special, because it can help change things in a way that you never would thought would happen. Barcelona
Mm.
game, I wasn't there, but I watched. And this type of things just happen in some stadiums, and probably happens more often in Anfield.
Yeah. So if you look back at the Klopp era, then there's a clip what shows quite a lot of times from your shot in the derby.
Yeah.
What did you think when you look back at that and you seen his reaction?
To be honest, now I laugh as well. It was a great setup, everything, and I was really tired in that game, I remember. And then I just tried the shot, and the shot wasn't as good as I would like to. And then he just laughed. We were winning 4-0, I think.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was playing well. I gave an assist to Sturridge, and but yeah, on that moment, to be honest, I was angry, because he was laughing. But then you just have to get on it, and then it was a funny moment, and just shows that Jurgen is, apart from a fantastic manager, is a very funny guy.
Yeah. So obviously you've got a famous GIF what's used hundreds, probably thousands of times a day from your unlucky moment. Where did that come from?
Very strange, to be honest, because we were doing an appearance, me and Henderson,
In the shop?
in a shop, yeah, and we had to try to sell shirts, and of course we were how
Disguised?
can I yeah, exactly. And then Hendo had to try to sell his shirt to a customer, to a client, to a fan there. and he was trying really hard. He was trying, and then giving a discount, and I was just behind, hiding behind, and he was trying his best, to be honest. What a player he is, because to sell a shirt, he wasn't very good, and he was almost giving for free, and the fund didn't want to. And then I just started to say unlucky, and then it was just came like that, and then became viral, and still is. So a lot of, I think, the new generation doesn't know me, but knows my unlucky thing. So it's quite funny.
Let's hear it one more time.
Unlucky.
Okay, so who would you say over your time at the club? I mean, I'm going to say there's an obvious one of Steven Gerrard, but who would you say is the best player you've played alongside other than Stevie?
Well, the strikers, of course, you can say Suarez, you can say Torres, you can say Coutinho on that, that spell he had. But I can't forget the position that I play and how much I learn with these guys. Steven, we all know, we don't need to speak about. But Xabi Alonso was what a player, what a manager he's becoming.
Yeah, wow.
Wow,
Final tonight.
everybody knew he was going to be a fantastic manager, but not as quick as that, and not as good as that in the first season, as a professional in a professional league. And so fantastic. So I learned a lot with him. Mascherano as well, different way of playing football, but what a guy. Sami Hipia, I think I learned a lot. I only played one season with him, but it was really important. I learned how to read the game. Of course, he was a center back, but you always can learn things from other positions. I could say many. I was very fortunate to play with many top players. But if I have to pick one, of course, Suarez was the one that in couple of seasons, 3 seasons there, especially that season that we didn't win, he was just a different class.
When you play and training with him every day, how was that? Was he just as tough in training as he was in games?
Yeah, he just doesn't like to lose, and he's very competitive, and he just finds a way to win it, but to be honest, in training was hard. Of course, you improve when you train with players like him, but in the game that you could really see the real Suarez, and then you just felt like, wow, what he's doing here, it's just incredible. And I think he proved not only Liverpool but Barcelona. Even here, he came to my club, to Grêmio, and what he's done last year here was incredible. He scored many goals, and after one year, he left here like a super player. And so credit to him, because he worked really hard and very professional.
And was he just as good with nutmegs in training as he was in games?
Oh yeah, unbelievable, incredible. Huh? It's incredible.
Ridiculous. I've never seen anyone do it. So, I don't know. He
You
was doing it
knew
from
you
5 yards
knew
away.
he was going to do it, but you couldn't stop it. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about the new manager that's about to come in. I don't know if you know too much about him and his
No, I
final
don't know
sides.
too much. No.
Do you think a new manager coming into the club now is sort of fighting a losing battle, or do you think it's a good opportunity for a fresh start?
It's like I said before, it will be very difficult, or it will be impossible, I would say, to replace Jurgen. I think the worst thing for someone coming in after Jurgen is trying to I wouldn't say to do same things, but trying to replace him. It's a new start. It's a new start. So let's say like that. The club is in a very strong position. It's in a very good and young team. we've seen this year how many young players, played, and they've done really well. So it's the base, the foundation is there. Of course, a new manager comes, he will come with new ideas, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I think for sure he will still get important things from the Jurgen time, and to keep that going, because that was successful moment, was a successful period. So a new manager comes, he must take the good things from Jurgen, and put it in the team that he will train now, and he will set up, and the way he will play. So, but the worst thing for a manager now is trying to replace him.
Yeah.
It's a new moment, a new era, a new chapter, and I'm sure the fans will be behind him. Even Jurgen already is behind him, singing his
Crazy that.
song. It's incredible. So he will have time to show his qualities. He's done really well in Holland. I think he broke the record of points in a season for the club.
Mhm.
So he's got a lot of potential, and he'll arrive in a club that will receive him with open arms, will give him what he needs to, and then it's up to him, of course, to put his ideas of football in the team next season.
Yeah.
But
I've
I'm
just got
really
a
looking forward. I'm excited to see, because like I said, the club is in a new moment, and you could see a lot of young players. So I think at the moment, of course, the players will leave, some will come, and then it will be important to see how he will mix, especially with the senior players, the young players that the club already have.
Mhm. So I wasn't going to ask you this question. Obviously, I try not to get involved in too many outsider things. But Coutinho at the club was, wow. I can't even
Well,
explain sometimes
yeah,
what a ridiculous footballer.
yeah,
And obviously things haven't worked out or gone to
yeah,
plan as he would have liked and his family would have liked. You've spoke to him obviously a few
yeah.
times since. How is he?
Yeah, well, to be honest, his time at the club was fantastic. He loves the club. He loves the fans. Of course, he left in a way that uh, people didn't appreciate. Let's say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But I think what he's done for the club was amazing. His performance, some of his performance was just incredible. And
yeah.
of course, since he moved, he won a Champions League with Bayern Munich. He won a lot of titles with Barcelona. Maybe he didn't feel as comfortable as he was in Liverpool. We
Yeah.
never spoke about if he regrets or not, of course, but yeah, he's fine now. He's in Qatar playing. Of course, he moved to Barca, then Bayern Munich. He came back to the Premier League with Aston Villa. He had a good spell at the beginning.
Hmm.
After he had a few injuries, so it didn't help him. But what a player he is, and he's fine. His family is okay. I think he's happy, and he loves Liverpool. I can say that. Of course, he had a dream to play for Barcelona, and since he was a kid, and maybe things didn't work the way he wanted at the club. Maybe he thought it was one thing, it was another thing. But when you have a dream, it's very hard to take that dream out of your mind, and that's what's happened. But I think like I said, let's see the good things he's done for the club, and he still loves the club. He follows the club, and for sure he'll be back in a Liverpool shirt in some way, the legend games, and because he's a fantastic guy. What a guy he is! He's a fantastic man.
Definitely. So a lot of footballers from they come to England and they do like to make that move to Spain. I'm told it's culture, the food, everything like that. I'll use foul language here, but is the food really that shit in Liverpool?
Well, no, well, I can't say that because I stayed 10 years. So but to be honest, I used to have a lot of Brazilian food and at home. But
Yeah.
no, like I said, I think in his case was he had a dream to play for Barcelona. I think,
Yeah.
and then Suarez was there, Messi was there. You know, it was hard to say no. And let's to be honest, I think Liverpool got a lot of money, and at the end, could replace him with some of fantastic players, the likes of Alisson, Van Dijk, and things like that. So Liverpool could invest that money and strengthen the team. And so I think it was at the end. It
Worked
should
out
have
for
happened,
both, didn't it?
worked out, and like I said, he's what he's done for the club as well. We should appreciate because he's a fantastic guy, but also a fantastic player.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we look at it both ways, obviously, as a fan, we were disappointed with how he left and how everything happened.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, he maybe, he's gone to play with the greatest player of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
of
also,
course. When you leave, it's always hard. It's always hard to leave, especially in a way he left, especially in a way like Torres left,
yeah,
especially in a way like Suarez tried to move the 1 year before. So
it
it's
happens.
hard. It's hard to accept after a few years. You cool down and you try to see the other way and you understand, and everything it's fine. It was a decision he had to make, and at the end the club decided as well to accept. And I think worked for both ways. I think and let's, like I said, let's look all this play what they've done for the club when they were there wearing the shirt.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Lucas, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today. It's
Thanks, mate.
I've got memories of growing up watching you, and I'm not too much younger than you, but
Yeah, I'm not too old. Come on.
seeing you from how you started at the club to at the end, like I touched on earlier, I've got nothing but full respect and admiration for you. Not only as a footballer, but as a person as well, because it takes a really strong-minded person to do that. So,
No, thank you very much.
congratulations.
Like I said, it was a difficult start, but like Jurgen said, it's not important when you come in. It's important when you leave, and how you leave. And I think I left good things, the connection and the appreciation. Of course, like I said, it's not only about titles, but it's about work rate and loyalty. And I think I've shown that.
Definitely. Well, you wouldn't be called the adopted Scouser for nothing, mate.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, listen, I hope everything works out sooner the better in Brazil.
Thank you.
And I wish you good health and your family as well. Your young adopted Scousers as well. But good luck with everything, mate.
Thank you, mate. Take care. All the best.